Live from Rialto, California, Mark and Andre present The Mark and Andre Show, the only film, entertainment, and conspiracy podcast on Spreaker.com. Now here's your host, Mark and Andre. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment of the Mark and Andre podcast. I am your host, Mark Flores, and alongside me is our wonderful co-host, good friend of mine, Andre Gaynor.
What's up?
Andre, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm lifting weights.
Oh yeah, you're lifting like a 5-pound weight.
I'm killing it though.
Not with us today is the third tail of this whole, the third head of our three-headed dog, Isaiah. He's not with us today. Yeah, he didn't make it. We actually had a good idea to go with on the next part of the shows. When he comes in, he'll actually have a piano and he'll be playing tunes. What tunes I need to put on to when we need to close out or to when we need to have like suspenseful moments.
I respect it.
That's gonna be very interesting.
It's gonna be awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very action-packed show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about a subject regarding the lunar landing, something that's off to the side of the actual direct conspiracy of the lunar landing. And then we also are going to be discussing the Tupac Shakur biopic trailer, discussions and our reactions, and a little bit more in detail on what happened with Tupac Shakur's death. And then we're also going to be discussing population control. Does the U.S. government actually use population control methods to keep the U.S. population from increasing to such crazy heights?
Unbelievable
sizes. So, but before we get into that, this Wednesday I actually went to the GameStop Expo. It was very, very interesting to see a different side of the video game society.
The society?
The secret
culture?
society, yeah, exactly.
Video game culture.
A secret society within video games at the expo. No, but it was really fun. I was able to talk to a lot of people, a lot of wrestling fans. I had my Seth Rollins shirt on, so I was able to talk to people, tell them about the various podcasts that we had. It was very, very interesting. The venue was pretty impressive. Capcom and everyone else were there, like various game developers, and you get various previews of games and stuff like that, and tons of giveaways.
Were there demos for that you could play? Or?
Yeah, but the lines for the impressive ones were so long that we couldn't wait that long.
A roller coaster ride, right?
I think VR is actually was actually one of the subjects and topics that they were discussing in panels, and it was also the many demos that you had from various different companies. With it being an expo, it actually was only most of the stuff was only available via demonstration. Oh, okay. They didn't have stuff that you had the ability to buy. So you go up to a booth and they're like, "Well, this is going to be available at your nearest GameStop real soon. Can I buy it here?" No. Yeah, so
this is the finished copy, but no.
Yes, exactly.
Don't you want to make money for your company now?
Do you do wholesale? No, we only distribute exclusively to Xbox, Amazon, all this fine print, right? They have to read after. But nonetheless, it still was a fun event. I enjoyed it completely. It was very, very, very far from where I live. It was over in Anaheim. Not that far, but still, I just don't like traffic. Yeah. I could see Disneyland from over there, and I was like, man, I should just pop in real quick, see what's going on.
Pop in to Disney. Hey, guys.
Pop in real quick.
It's your homies.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Mark. Come on in. Have a plate.
This Mark and Andre podcast show has been brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers. Buy, sell, and trade your retro games and next-gen consoles. That's PS4 and Xbox One. You can come into contact with Game Swappers via Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS. That's GAMESWAPPERS. Game Swappers. Buy, sell, and trade. Keep in mind that if you do share any which of the Mark F Podcast channel podcasts, you'll be able to get 10% off towards your retro game purchase. Or if you're in the interest of trading games in, you'll be able to get 10% more towards your retro game trade-ins. Simply take a screenshot of the show that you're sharing on any form of social media, and then show anyone at Game Swappers either via DM or inside the store in Montclair. and you'll be able to get 10% off towards your retro games.
Tight.
That's a good deal. I've heard a couple people have actually used it.
Oh, good. That's good.
I know. But I the thing is like when I'm there just hanging out, I don't see anyone do it.
Right.
So I'm like, what? Wait, do it. So it sucks for the international audience that doesn't get to.
Just a flight. It's a quick flight, you know.
It's a quick flight.
Just think about it. It's a flight, 10% off. It's
The same price of a ticket is like the same in shipping to ship out stuff, just because of like them wanting to buy all these games, and they have to have it shipped over to where they're at.
So you might as well come and visit California, and just take that risk.
I have to be the tour guide.
You gotta take them around, house
I know.
them.
You can spend the night, then we go to Game Swappers, then I take you back to the airport. So, you and I recently just saw the Tupac Shakur biopic trailer. This is in light of the hip hop biopic kind of movement that they're doing. It started with Notorious, the Notorious B.I.G. movie. Now it started with
It restarted.
Yeah, restarted because there was a brief time
It was like
from
this
2012
lapse.
to 2016 where there was none until Straight Outta Compton came out.
And then Straight Outta Compton just swept it, and now we're hearing like Master P wants to do one, and like all these other random rappers popping up out of nowhere.
I want to see DMX's.
I want to see Chingy's. I just want to see like a bunch of these
30 minutes. Him and Nelly's, Chingy and Nelly's, like are a double feature because they just can't. Their biopics don't last that long.
They're that short, so it's just like an abrupt cut to Nelly's part. But
Get ready to see the second Nelly, Chingy. But since we're on the subject of Tupac Shakur here, my reaction personally on this was, I was watching the trailer and I'm seeing it, and I see a very accurate portrayal of Tupac Shakur with the voice, with his mannerisms. But I kind of feel that there's going to be some sort of agenda behind what they're going to do with him. They're going to paint him up to be more of a thug, more of this whole like, I'm a guy who is all gangster all the time. Because there's more scenes of him like shooting a gun or like smoking a cigarette,
smoking, partying,
than he was actually uplifting or being socially conscious.
I kind of think it's going to be a mixture of that, as well as them turning him into some kind of martyr figure. Because the mom, I hate films that do this now, where it's like they have a specific scene that you can tell they wrote it for the trailer. Yeah. Like they wrote a specific like monologue from one character. Yeah. And because they were like, this would be perfect for the trailer. And what they used for both versions of the trailer was Tupac's mom telling him, the streets are rampant and people are acting crazy, son, and you're going to be the voice that'll save them. And he's all like, I don't want to save them, nigga. And it's like,
yeah, exactly.
That's ridiculous. The moment we started watching the trailer, it just looked goofy.
You know what? That's like something so cliche I have been seeing for the last 5 years. More importantly, because I focused in and seeing it. It's where there's action throughout the whole trailer, and then all you hear is, you're going to be someone important, you know?
Right.
You know, it's always the mom or like the aunt in the reference to Spider-Man. But it's always this female figure that's been impactful in his or her life, that's saying, you're going to be someone one day. Or the dad's like, there's more to you than you know now, son.
There's something within you that most people will never understand. And then it's Superman flying into the sky.
Superpac.
Yeah, the Tupacalypse. And he's just showing up, just like blowing things up. But there's a specific clip where he hops out of a car and hops on his knee like LAPD style, and he starts busting in like a 9mm in random directions.
Yes, exactly.
And it's like, okay, now I feel like this movie is going to glamorize like you said, glamorize the thug aspect of it, the lifestyle of being this aggressive. Because I'm like, they're not even going to highlight the parts where he wasn't with Death Row. Yeah. Because Death Row is when Tupac actually followed through with the gangster character. I call him character because who Tupac was before he signed to Death Row was nothing like what, after he signed. Yeah. Prior to that, he was more of an activist, speaking on transitioning your consciousness and, it's kind of pushing forward the Black Panther movement. And then once he signed to Death Row, it's guns in the streets,
pouring champagne on
women, and telling them don't drink it. This leave it on the floor. We'll get a completely different bottle to drink from. This is just a pour on you. Like it's and then even in the trailer they did the same thing. It's like a bunch of women pouring champagne on each other. Everything's in slow motion, and they have I'm a straight rider like playing in the background, but
but it goes intertwining with his like a black, just all black, then Pac, I'm a straight rider, black. Then Tupac.
Blacks.
Oh yes, exactly.
Black goes. It fades to black. Then there's blacks, and then I'm a straight rider, and then back to more like you're gonna be great, son, and you're gonna change the world. You can't fuck with me. No, I want to be a life-changing individual for my people. Like it was so confusing.
Well, do you think they'll even highlight his digital underground? Like, when he used to fuck with them,
because it's weird. They're showing clips of when he was younger. I really feel like they're gonna hop over everything. They're just gonna jump straight to he does a song and he has a breakthrough moment, fade to black 2 years later, and then he's busting guns in the air at the top of a limo. That's what I think.
Like I can imagine the one part he's with like they tried to actually make people believe on Yo MTV Raps that Shock G and Humpty were two different people.
Oh my god.
I forgot about that. So you could just imagine like you're gonna be someone one day, punk. Now let's get it on to the Burger King bathroom. You know, it's like I hope they actually make this as accurate as possible.
No, I think they're gonna hop right over that, man, because that was his breakthrough.
Yeah, I can agree with that
because he came through spitting, and I don't think they're even gonna highlight that. I seriously don't think so. I think they're gonna go from street life to him having like this one big performance to Death Row. Because we saw more footage of him with Death Row. We saw Suge.
Yeah. That looked like a very skinny Suge Knight. That was a very
nice looking Suge Knight. He looked like a good boy.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, my ass.
Yeah, welcome to Death Row, nigga. But he looks so...
I'll be right back. I gotta go threaten Vanilla Ice real quick.
I gotta go murder some people. But it's like the way that they did the trailer... both trailers. We watched all of the current available trailers. It looks like a cash grab again. It looks like another cash grab. We're hot on the 20th anniversary of Tupac's death, right?
Yes, 96.
96, yeah. So 20th anniversary. And
it did pass.
Yeah, it just
July,
passed.
right?
Yeah, it just recently passed. Yeah. Actually, like a couple days ago. 3 or 4 days ago. This week. And yeah, when it came down to just what they were doing with the film, it looks like it's just another way to get people in the theater, throw some cash their way, because it just doesn't seem like... I don't see a reason for the film to be here. It's not a teaching tool. It's not going to show these young kids who Tupac was, and that's not going to maintain his relevance.
Yeah.
I mean, Straight Outta Compton made a little more sense. Mm-hmm. It really did. But even that one was kind of like meaningless.
Is his mom still alive? Or did she recently...
That's a good question.
Yeah. Well, you looked that up, but for what I want to get to is that to build on what you're saying is that will we ever see an accurate portrayal of rap icons? I think it gets too convoluted with people and different interests and what they want to see with a certain character. Mm-hmm. And, we say that because it's a fictional film. It's not going to be an accurate... There's never been an accurate biography of a person.
No.
There's always going to be some deviation because the scenes where there's only two people in the room, there's not a fucking biographer in the back peeking in.
Right. Every second.
Did you
Yeah, Shakur did pass. She passed this year in May.
So I would imagine that even beforehand, like in 2015 and before that, that I don't think she would have been behind giving advice or giving things about what a young Tupac was.
And here's another... I mean, this is just my question. Do we need it? Do we need this film?
There's more that we know about Tupac Shakur than...
I mean, we've had a number of Tupac films.
I have seen so many biographies on MTV. Oh, man, there's been plenty.
Tupac Resurrection made it to theaters, and that was a documentary.
Yeah.
We've had a number of depictions of Tupac in films.
Or even the East Coast, West Coast... Like, how many East Coast, West Coast rivalry documentaries have they had, like, on ABC, MTV, like VH1.
BET.
It's crazy, man. It's been a lot, and I think that it's always been a cash grab for the longest for people with ratings in the cable system.
Right.
And now that it wants to go, as in the Tupac ideal wants to go to the theatrical level.
Right. But
it's gonna make money, and it's gonna make more money than it did when you put it on cable.
Right. But let's hope it's not it's just a half-assed storytelling of Tupac, because you did mention Notorious earlier.
Yeah.
Notorious is awful.
It is. I didn't like seeing it.
And a number of people came out and said, none of that is accurate.
Yeah.
That's not how I was depicted.
Biggie's mom's not that fine.
Right.
She doesn't look like Angela Bassett. That's the main reason they're pissed off. Sorry about that.
I truly don't appreciate how beautiful they made Biggie's moms. No, but definitely Lil' Kim was like, I was nothing like that. Not even close.
I can imagine
that. One of the characters they portrayed, he was light skinned in the film. The actual person's dark skinned. Like they missed the mark on a number of things. And they said the only thing that they got accurate in the entire film was the depiction of P. Diddy, because this P. Diddy spent exclusive time with the actor and had his hands on those scenes. But everything else he didn't even look at. He didn't care.
Wow.
So
I just care about what I do in this film.
And does he look and sound like Biggie? All right, cool. That'll work. It'll work. People are going to see it. So I really, that wasn't. That's not what. I don't want to see another Notorious. And the way we saw, that trailer. Yeah, the actor. Yeah, he's got the mannerisms down.
He looks like
him. And then these stupid lines. Yeah, I heard you want to tell the real story before you go. Like, who says that? Yeah. Like, oh no, I heard that before you die, you want to tell the real story. And like,
might as well look at the damn camera and break the fourth wall. In case they make a autobiographical theatrical release on your death and
called
life.
All Eyes on Me. But that'd be weird, wouldn't it? And then
exactly.
Just dap each other up and point at the camera.
So, since we're on the subject of Tupac Shakur himself, let's go into the whole event that was his untimely death. Mm-hmm. Died at a very tender age, and from what I specifically remember, being, and I'm sorry to be so left field about this, but it ended after a Mike Tyson fight.
Right.
This is after he came out of prison and he actually was able to get I believe one of the WBC or the WBO championships. So he comes out of prison and beats Bruce Seldon, knocks him out in classic Tyson fashion, and then after. Either there was a skirmish before the fight, after the fight, and then, a couple hours later, he's dead. Mm-hmm. Or he gets shot, gets sent to a hospital where he dies there.
I believe the skirmish was post-fight. The fight was after the fight. So, if that's too confusing for you guys.
I know.
Suge actually had started a confrontation with some, because I think Suge is a blood, and Suge's the red one. He's the red one, and he got in a fight with the blue ones. And, he beat up the dudes, and they get into the truck, and they roll out. And then shortly after, Tupac died. And there's footage, there's that last iconic picture where they take a picture of Pac and Suge. Suge's driving away, looking kind of like, ugh, I just beat some niggas up. And
Pac's
like, oh, man. Like, his face...
Like,
his
damn, I'm glad this is just a flash.
Yeah.
And not someone like...
Next to myself. No one's shooting me, because I really would hate to be shot right now. And shortly afterwards, I still don't understand he was the only person in the vehicle to die? Am I correct?
Yeah, from what Unsolved Mysteries taught me when I watched it, they asked Robert Stack... Hearing Robert Stack say Tupac Shakur is so intimidating. Tupac Shakur. But in all seriousness, so there's a motorcade in the front, and I believe either one in the back, and then it's Pac and Suge in the front. Mm-hmm. And I don't know whether or not there was people in the back seat of that same car they were in. Mm-hmm. But because there's more testimonies from people in the back of the car parked behind, actually driving behind Tupac and Suge. Mm-hmm. But from what we all have here, it just... the suspect, whoever killed him, still remains at large.
Still.
How come?
Still.
And I ask you this: is how come rap icons such as Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls, how come we cannot find the people that killed them? It is surprising to me that with the technology that we have with forensics, the technology we had at that time with getting people that we needed to get in certain situations, we were able to. It was just able to happen so quickly.
Wait, no, but you missed the biggest, the most glaring factor in this whole murder scenario.
Yeah,
it's Las Vegas. One of the most, like, the highest surveillance possible, that whole city. And you're just correct. Came from a high-profile, top-of-the-line casino.
From a big mega fight where everyone and anyone was going to be watching.
Exactly.
The cat's out of the bag on that one.
Right, we just solved it. I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Because there's cameras mounted everywhere within a casino. There are cameras mounted everywhere outside of a casino, of each casino. And they're all pointed at the streets. They're pointed at various areas because they need to observe what would happen if somebody were to try to do something crazy within a casino. Or if, let's say, they've worked out some kind of, cheating tactic and they need more than one person. They look at the person and who they interact with throughout Vegas because there are that many cameras. And around this time, because I'm kind of speaking closer to modern times, but still, come on, man. They had enough technology to track at least the shooting.
Yeah.
Or at least see the vehicle that no one just ran in the middle of the street with a big ass gun and shot up the car. Yeah. Somebody would have saw that, right? Like, there's no such thing as a street that was empty in Vegas on a big fight night.
That is the thing that surprises me. And even after the fight, there's going to be traffic.
Right.
How does this still remain unsolved? Even in the context of the Notorious B.I.G.'s death, where he leaves the LA Auto Show and then just stops at a stoplight and gets smoked too.
And that's
Los Angeles, same thing. Very dense population after the LA Auto Show. And there's always traffic in Los Angeles, no matter what. Especially
no matter what year.
No matter what, you leave for a shoelace convention, there's going to be traffic. Who knows, It's like, there's traffic everywhere in Los Angeles. I was a big witness to it yesterday. I was in Hawthorne. I had to leave and go all the way back home.
Yeah, and you got stuck because there was a traffic convention, right outside
the traffic convention, telling you how to alleviate traffic. But yeah, so it's just, I really think something suspicious is always at hand when I don't get an answer to a murder mystery.
Well, I mean,
it just still surprises me that we solve issues like this.
Well, you want a cool little fact? Tupac Shakur died the same day Ready to Die was released. Not the same exact day the album was released. It was 2 years afterwards. But he died on the same day Biggie Smalls' Ready to Die came out.
Oh, wow.
That was the same day.
Jeez. And then that's very funny that you point that out because Ready to Die, I don't think Biggie was alive when that came out. And that's something very foreboding because his album has him dressed up like he's going to take someone in a hearse. That is just crazy to me. Like I forgot it's Ready to Die is the one where life after death.
Baby.
Excuse me.
Ready to Die.
Sorry about that, guys. It's Ready to Die, and then Life After Death is the one where he dresses like a person driving a hearse.
And he was fascinated with dying. I don't know why.
Yeah, but there's so many clips of both of them saying, "Man, I'll take that back. Any clip of someone saying something about them dying is now going to be useful because when they die prematurely, it's going to be like, wow, did he really think?
Yeah.
Did he really think? Of course he didn't really think.
Yeah, he was kind of hoping that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of pride. Like
people's natural survival instincts are always going to kick in when someone doesn't want to die, no matter what.
Right.
So people will fight to the death to not die.
So in this case, it's like it really baffles me in a couple of areas. One, we have very, very low witness account.
Yeah.
No one saw anything. And this wasn't a hood event, so there's no snitching rule in place.
Yeah, both of them are outside of any gang-related territory.
Exactly.
Vegas, and then Biggie's case from New York, dies in Los Angeles.
Right. Well, Los Angeles has you can get away with the hood pass thing, like no snitching. But in Vegas for Pac, It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't, because it's a densely populated area. And then Suge didn't die. Confused. They both should have died. And I don't want people to die, but just based on how they shot the car up, they both should have died.
Well, what I really think was really suspicious is that you pop so many rounds into where Tupac's at, but then you don't want to make sure everyone else in the car's waxed. Like, you'll leave someone else alive.
Right.
If you don't want any witnesses, you'll kill everybody there. Like,
if you're gonna
the
go
mob
that
don't
far,
play that. Like, nobody plays that. Hitmen don't play that.
If you're gonna go that far to take somebody out, to kill someone with witnesses present, you're not gonna leave an entire group of people alive that are closely sitting next to the person you just killed. It doesn't make sense. And he didn't have a sniper rifle, so I just it's one of those things, like, this is such a big mystery for no reason. Yeah.
Are you more fascinated about and then being with you talking about this, like, you're music savvy, as am I, but who do you find more interesting? Do you find the mystique of Tupac Shakur post-death more interesting than Tupac before he dies?
I do.
Yeah.
I feel both. Like he elevated somehow. When he died, it's like
Heath Ledger effect.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. It's like, wow, okay, Tupac passed, and now he's just the greatest lyricist alive.
Yeah, and he sells more albums dead than alive,
which is crazy. Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to be controversial, but I think Tupac is okay.
Yeah,
he's a rapper.
Yeah,
and he's a phenomenal writer and storyteller. But I personally think there were better rappers. But for him to have passed, it seems like it's just like his potential. That's what it was. It's like his potential.
It's always going to be that. Yeah.
Because, like,
in the case of athletes dying or anyone in their youth dying,
because it's like he was on a ramp up and it wasn't slowing down, and then he dies.
Yes.
But it's like it quadrupled his speed and his momentum and his height. And he's just this martyr now. Same with Biggie. It's just like he had this crazy momentum. He's going up and he dies, and his momentum triples, and everyone loves him even more.
Yeah.
But, in Biggie's case, he didn't have much material to keep his legacy alive, but his name will always reign. Yeah. And then he technically kind of made way for Jay-Z. So that's the New York side of things. But on the West Coast, Tupac put out albums for like 10 years.
More albums.
Still
albums
new
dead
songs
than alive.
With current references. So I don't know. In Tupac's case, I never understood what made him this legend, this incredible legend.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to have someone from the outside looking in, and to have as a guest to where we can actually like go tit for tat with them to discuss, to see.
We need a Tupac expert.
Yeah, we need someone that's pro-Pac. Anyway, let's go on to the next topic that we had at hand here. We also recently saw this other trailer for Operation Avalanche, and what Operation Avalanche the story entails throughout the trailer is that this movie is going to show a story of a team of U.S. officials that teamed up with Stanley Kubrick to film and direct the Apollo moon landing. Yeah, we have discussed the Apollo moon landing conspiracy, but this is a different perspective on where we're going to take this topic.
Right.
And I'm talking about why does Hollywood keep trying to push the idea in various films that we didn't land on the moon?
Well, in this case, because... how do you have any other examples of other Hollywood films?
Yeah, we have Capricorn 1, which suggested the same thing, that the moon landing was filmed. We also have the short rant in Interstellar saying that we couldn't keep up with the Soviets during the space race.
So we needed a way to beat them.
Yeah, and all we did was just film a moon landing, which in the late 1960s to early 1970s, when we did all those Apollo 11 through Apollo 17 missions, we ended up going to the moon several times. And I went to the Griffith Observatory a couple days ago, and from the dates that they were going, these guys were going in 12-month increments, where it was just boom, 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 we're here. Like they could have built a Starbucks up there, But why does I don't know why Hollywood keeps trying to put more movies about how we didn't land on the moon than us landing on the moon,
Well, okay, I'll argue that. It doesn't seem like Hollywood is in fact stating that it's fact. Because in most of the capacities that I've seen that brought up, it's a joke. Kind of like, one of the scenes in the newest Ghostbusters, where they basically say, like, we keep these things under control. You know, like, we say certain things to make sure the public is satisfied. So it's one of those jokes I've seen in a lot of comedies and even in serious films. Unfortunately, I don't have references, guys, but a lot of films will just kind of go, yeah, and we didn't land on the moon. Or like, as a joke, not taken seriously. That's Hollywood. Yeah. Now, in the case of this film, this is not a Hollywood film. This is an indie film. This is, it might have been filmed in Hollywood, but, I can tell this was independently funded, and it's just, it's a Sundance film. Yeah. Sundance films are the best films you could ever watch, guys. Honestly, seriously, if you really want to expand your horizons in film,
at least watch a couple.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we got Napoleon Dynamite, Black Dynamite. Dynamite, no,
all these movies that blew up in the theaters, like Napoleon Dynamite, Black Dynamite.
So when it comes to this film, I can definitely see they're just taking a risk because there is a set of reality to this. I think this is like they're really trying to tell the story.
There's always been that speculation because the fact of the matter is that Stanley Kubrick was able to film great films in outer space. 2001, A Space Odyssey is one of the many movies that he made with such great visual effects that you're always wondering, like, well, the moon landing was made to look very vivid. Like, even with the live feed that they had where you see Neil Armstrong touch first on the moon, it's
like a script.
Exactly. It looks so Hollywood. The fact that Nixon calls Neil Armstrong over from the moon all the way to planet Earth. They're just I was just calling you, seeing what's going on. Even though
let you know I'm proud of you.
From the time that they talk to the time that he responds, it's kind of, I think it's completely too quick.
Off. Yeah, completely
I think it's way too quick.
Timing is not right because we can't even talk from here to Kansas without some strange delay.
Yeah.
How's it going out in Kansas, Bob? Oh, it's great! Like, that stupid long pause. So for him to contact him on the moon, they had a pretty general space that was close to that. Yeah. And I'm like, anyway. So when it comes to this film, I'm actually really excited to see it because they're not taking this kind of this serious, jokey hangover Superbad style. This is a real legit, like, they're trying
mockumentary type style movie.
Yes. And it's not a joke. This is like them trying to expose an idea. Maybe they did do their research. Because nowadays, man, we are capable of doing so much more research than we did before. I mean, we managed to do the proper research to find out that Martin Luther King was assassinated by the CIA. And they ruled it out in court. That's how much access to information we have now. So I feel like maybe these filmmakers really did their research because they got really great actors.
Yeah, the Freedom of Information Act has given way to the Project Blue Book. It's given way to plenty of then classified documents, now unclassified.
Exactly. So maybe these guys did their research. The Sundance crowd, man, they're very intellectual. So I feel like these guys did their research and they want to share the true story through the film. So I look forward to seeing it. It looks really good.
I just really want to see this idea flourish within people to actually not only speculate about what's happening with the whole suspicion of us not landing on the moon. I want to see people actually roll with it and actually do their own research within it. Because once you look at once you look at Apollo 11, the first moon landing as a whole, you're looking at a matter of us trying to go into space with a man before the Russians do.
Right.
We need to do that quicker. We need to do that a lot faster than they can. They already shot a rocket, and I guess with Sputnik, what they ended up doing, they launched a satellite to the moon, and then they tried their best to actually shoot a rocket that had a flag attached into the moon.
Blew up craters into the moon.
It's just, I know exactly. It ended up splitting it in half. The thing that people need to really get at is trying to find out on their own.
Right.
Because, like we mentioned before on the 9/11 podcast, is that you're going to be the only one that's going to convince yourself whether we did or not. And everyone else's opinions are going to help to a certain extent, but with your added research, you can actually dictate that yourself.
Yeah, you can have some clarity and just get that out of your life.
Yeah.
Well, based on the trailer as well, because I wanted to note this.
Yeah.
They took, like we said, we mentioned it's a very realistic approach, but the story itself, the motivation behind faking the launch makes sense and it's justifiable. Like,
exactly.
There's a desperation, and the trailer makes sure to share that. It's like America's very frustrated because this is kind of like, this is a worldwide phenomenon.
You can't let the commies win, you know?
You can't let the commies win, and you can't let them establish a power greater than yours. This is a pissing match. Of course it is, with entire nations, of course. Yeah. But it's necessary. We have to beat them, or what are we going to do? You know? So, yeah, for them to go, well, we gotta figure out what to do next. And these guys are listening in, and they go, well, we can just fake it, right?
Yeah, the Russians or anyone else.
No one would know the better.
Yeah, exactly. If you're able to play it off right.
Right.
But I was going to get to as well, this other point is that I've never, even, because we're flirting with the lines of them actually filming a conspiracy that they actually just filmed it. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually going with the point of no one else has been into space.
Right.
You know, we're talking about the satellites that are rotating above our Earth, but in the context of the Russian Federation at the time launching people into space, they haven't done that.
Right.
Allegedly there's only one flag up there.
One,
and it's ours. Oh. Alongside with some other junk that we left there.
Some other crap.
I ain't taking that rover back. I'll leave that shit here.
Leave the rover.
Leave that shit here. I got room.
Ain't no gas.
Gotta lighten our load.
Left an astronaut.
I know. Left. Hey, guys. Fuck, they left me. Fuck, I gotta eat this sandwich. I gotta take off my helmet. Can you imagine? Just like, yeah, they left me. Like, well, that's like actually what they did in The Martian.
That's The Martian. But so what? I'm sure there's a comedy spin on it for sure. So I gotta eat this sandwich. Like, that's all you have left. You're holding a sandwich and you have your helmet and you're like,
let me just pop this up real quick.
Just real quick. Just
the vacuum of space just rips your face off. What Kennedy threw a big promise out there in '64. He's like, we need to put a man on the moon by the end of this decade. Mm-hmm. He says decade. Mm-hmm. I've never heard. He has a crazy accent, but it's just with him setting you up like that, mm-hmm. like where he's like, well, I'm the president. I can say whatever the hell I want.
Exactly.
Let's just put someone on the moon, make it happen. Mm-hmm. Okay, JFK wants us on the moon. Like, how are we going to do this?
We don't have any. We can't.
I can imagine NASA even going rogue from what the president's thinking. Mm-hmm. You know, but JFK wasn't alive to see us do that because he was assassinated beforehand. Mm-hmm. So Nixon ended up getting the first call from Neil Armstrong. Mm-hmm. I just want to see how deep does this go? Like, is this NASA playing everyone else, or is this NASA and the president playing all of us? Like, I want to see how deep this goes to where, like, everyone, to what levels this went, of classification.
Also, I mean, just why was it necessary? Oh. You know, that was my biggest question for it. It's like, all right, so we need to land up there and see what that's about. Yeah. Well, what are we going to do with it? You know, like, what are we going to do once we get up there? Yeah. But, you know, maybe it's more so humanity as a whole. We want to explore everything. And,
yeah, we're naturally nosy.
That's up there, and we see it all the time. Let's go check it out. And maybe that's what it was. And I don't know why it was a race. Why couldn't we work together and build something monumental and go there together and high five, leave both of our flags, and the shit's over? But no, it's always a piss.
You know, the United States won't do that.
The United States has no friends.
In Operation Paperclip, we ended up stealing German scientists. Even Werner von Braun is the man who led NASA in the beginning, and he was a former German scientist that helped out the Nazis. It's there.
Like, we need you.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't care what you did.
You know, what washes their hands clean of the whole situation is the fact that they took him in the middle of the night. You know, that's why they had Einstein. Without Einstein, you know, it's just what I want to build onto is that we'll never ever let anyone get the victory with us. Mm. The United States don't play that.
No,
the
we
United
don't.
States, at that time anyway, when we were just in the middle of the Vietnam War, we were also off the end of 20 years, almost 20 years fresh off of World War II. Mm-hmm. So it was just a lot going on at the time.
We're just greedy.
Yeah.
America's just a greedy monster. But in this case, like, it's kind of like, keeping up with the Joneses type of thing. If you break it down to like a natural, like if we condense it to an analogy and be like, well, I need to have this part of my house modified before this neighbor does it. Like, people do stupid shit like that. I want to be the first neighbor on this block to have, this dumb monument, special glow-in-the-dark turf for grass or whatever.
At this point, I think what Hollywood and what people at films want us to believe is that have the idea implanted in and they just want to plant the seed of the idea that maybe we didn't land on the moon,
right?
And that's good because, like I was telling you earlier before we started the show, is that why are there more movies about us not landing on the moon than there are movies about us going to the moon? And because Apollo 13 is the only one I remember to where they it was the failed attempt,
right,
where they weren't able to,
right,
but after that there was nothing,
right. And we didn't ever bring it up again. It's kind of like the lie was.
Oh, we haven't even went back.
We haven't, and that's what we talked about that before.
Yeah.
It's like the
Crazy.
lie was big, and we gave like a quick little fake history, and then we were done. We never talked about it again because no one's asking about it.
Yeah.
So for these guys to make this film, maybe it's like, and you're right. A lot of, like you said, a lot of films do bring it up. So maybe it's kind of like, look, we lied, guys. We lied, guys. They're telling us all subtly. Yeah. Look, we lied. Okay, we're sorry. But look, we can, look at us now. We're great. We have the internet. So who knows? But this film, I think, if they plant that seed through a good and entertaining film, I think it'll be great. It'll work out. And remember, Sundance films, if they do great at Sundance, if it's overwhelming, the response, it always goes to theaters.
Cool.
And then it starts with a small release, and then it expands, and there you go.
Yeah, I hope in the case of Project Operation Avalanche?
Project Orange.
Operation Orange Julius. Operation Avalanche. I hope in the case of Operation Avalanche it actually hits that kind of success. All right, guys, let me go into the second round of commercials. Andre and I are going to be going without a break. We've actually been pretty good on that.
Yeah.
We did that last time. Did we have a break last time?
Yeah, we had a break last time.
Oh, okay. Well,
cool.
On and off. I like it when we just go without breaks.
We just go hard.
This portion of the Mark and Andre podcast is brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade your retro games and next-gen consoles. That's PS4 and Xbox One. You can come into contact with Game Swappers via Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS. That's GAMESWAPPERS. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade. Keep in mind, guys, that if you do share any which of the Mark F Podcast channel shows, you'll be able to get 10% off towards your retro game purchase at Game Swappers. Simply take a screenshot of you sharing it through any means of social media, and then show anyone on staff at Game Swappers, either online or in store in the Montclair store, and you'll be able to get 10% off towards your retro game purchase. You can also do the same for 10% more towards your retro game trade-ins. All right, so now we're at the third portion of the third segment, rather, of the Mark and Andre podcast show. And I want to touch on this very, very, very intensely, simply because of the fact of we need to see if this is actually true. This conspiracy has always been in my mind for a long time, and we have to, attack this really, really harshly. Population control methods. Yeah. Does our government use tactics such as this to prevent the population from increasing?
What does that mean?
In the case of the U.S. government, in densely populated areas, do they actually try to manipulate certain things that we eat, certain things that we breathe or drink, to make us to a fatal point to where we're just doing, we're dropping dead at a certain consistent age.
Okay.
I really think that there's times where there's additives and there's preservatives and certain things that don't need to be preserved. I think the fact of us having tainted water and not fresh 100% just water at any point, it still baffles me. Like having fluoride in water, it still upsets me.
But it's funny because, you mentioned just the fluoride.
Yeah.
But there are up to 30 chemicals. Well, it also depends on the state. So
exactly.
I can only speak for California, but we have like up to 30 different chemicals into our water. And they've even done like reports where it's like we even have traces of drugs in our water because, and they say, this is what I don't like about the media. They say it's just slight traceable amounts, slight amounts. Like we're talking 0.002%. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is we have like Adderall, we have Oxycontin, we have like Molly, we have all these, we have all the drugs. So when a person, you got to calm down, getting riled up. Yeah. So when a person does drugs or takes pills, and there are a number of people that are medicated in this nation, whether it be the over-the-counter drugs or it's the drugs that are used recreationally, they have to pass. They have to pee. They got to let it out. Well, that's going into our sewage system, and it's being recycled, and then we have it filtered through different filters, and it goes right back into our drinking water. Yeah. What? That's okay? Like, yeah. And they say we filter the best way possible, and they assure that the water is perfectly filtered. But the fluoride is, the fluoride additives. They add fluoride as a way to clean the water, they say. Yeah. And I forgot, I think, not mercury. Man, I wish I knew that.
Yeah,
this would be
it wouldn't be
about.
Like I know for a fact if it is mercury, it would be in a small percentage because having mercury even in your hand is
dangerous,
fatal.
Man, I wish I knew you were gonna go on this. He still surprises me. So in this case, there are a number of chemicals, fluoride being what some consider to be a poison, which is a poison. It is a poison. That's why in Europe, the entire nation of Europe, it is legal. If there is fluoride in the water, it is like it's not supposed to be there. Exactly. They make absolute sure that there's no fluoride in the water because it damages people and it hurts you. Just a quick note. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, don't worry about it.
But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to let you know, like,
what were you saying?
So when I worked at Amazon, because I already told them, right? Yeah. So when I worked at Amazon, this is in San Bernardino, and they had their own water. Right? Like, they had pumps and all that other stuff. And it's filtered straight from the tap. Yeah. And it goes through, like little dispensers. Yeah. Within like 4 or 5 months, the nozzles on the dispensers are covered in gray gunk. Covered. Man. Because it's so much residue and buildup from the chemicals that are in the water. Yeah. So whenever you drank that water, because they stopped changing the filters. So, the filters stopped being changed like the first month they had them.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, they're not going to keep doing it.
That's a funny thing about big sector warehouses like that, because the chain of command regarding small things such as the water fountain falls through the wayside. Because say if you were in charge of the water fountain talking to the company and stuff, if you're fired, you're the only one that honestly would know that, right? Because of various transfers, hires, new hires, right? All that BS.
And they do government level patch ups, I call them, because they'll just put a sign next to it and said new filter. It has a new filter now. Like they'll just put that on the side and make it look like somebody did some maintenance. Yeah, and they'll put a date on it, but the filters were never changed. But when it came back to the water and the spout that it came out of, it's covered in gray gunk. Not only that though, when you drink it, it feels like you're swallowing like little bits of metal, right? Oh man. And you get really, really thirsty. Like your mouth dries up and your throat, it starts doing this when you keep drinking it all day. And that's the only water they provided. So in short, that's San Bernardino water. Yeah. San Bernardino's water is that bad. We're drinking tap water without the filter. And they're telling you to hydrate with that. No other form of water. No. And it makes you sick. It gives you a headache. If you drink it, like let's say I have 2 or 3 cups back to back, I get lightheaded and I have to sit down. That's not okay.
You can't. Don't ever try to pour yourself some tap water. I can't believe I as a little kid just hose water's fine.
Right. Oh yeah, hose. Oh,
it's like, man, like that was just the general thing because we wanted to still play outside.
Right, and we didn't know better. Yeah. And now when you now that I'm older, my taste buds might have been, I don't know, they've grown or something, but I can taste the chemicals now.
No.
So I prefer to just get bottled water. It's worth the money. So anyway, like, okay, San Bernardino City, their water is awful. It is the worst thing ever. But, you know, when we head over towards our direction, the water is a little bit easier to drink. You go to LA, it's basically gray coming out. If you have a clear cup, you have a gray cup of water.
I can't do any place. Like, even when I go to Disneyland, the water there is just milky. Like, water is not... When have you ever seen, like, in natural... Well, not in natural, but, like, free-flowing rivers.
Right.
Where the water's just looking like it's just got poured out and cloudy.
Right. And that's not okay.
Yeah.
So for you guys, you know, just to think about... And I'm just speaking on California because every other state has different water problems.
Yeah.
Flint, of course, is the best example.
Flint,
their water is freaking brown.
Yeah.
That's the water that they make them drink. It's brown, and it is killing kids. Kids are dying. They're just not reporting it.
Yeah.
Kids are getting sick. Kids are being hospitalized. And guess what water they give them after they get hospitalized? The same water.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing they can do out there. It's disgusting.
So, I mean, even at the end of the day, with bad tainted water, it's still not the fact that it's going to kill you instantly.
No, but it will take.
It will take a large chunk of your life expectancy out of the window.
Yes. As far as fluoride's concerned, fluoride. A lot. You know, there are those out there that will argue fluoride is good for your teeth. And you're supposed to use it for your teeth no, that is false. Yeah. That is false. You're not supposed to use fluoride on your teeth. Yeah, it'll preserve your teeth. That is absolutely true. Your teeth will be preserved. But when you brush something into your teeth and gums, where does it go? When someone does cocaine in the movies, where do they rub it?
Yeah.
That's an effect gums, to see what happens, because it's going to go to your bloodstream quicker. So when you're placing fluoride into your gums when you drink, or when you're brushing and washing off your toothbrush with your fluoridated toothpaste, it's going straight to your brain. And what some people don't know is that fluoride has adverse effects on your brain. Very bad effects. It affects your memory. It affects your ability to solve problem-solving skills, your motor functions. If you continuously take in fluoride for long periods of time, you develop Alzheimer's. It's a slow decay of your brain, and it even hardens parts of your brain. Yeah. Like there are parts of your brain, if they were to cut it open, and you were a continuous user of fluoride or drank fluoridated water, brushed your teeth with it, there would be parts of it that are hard like a rock. You can knock on it. Because that's what it does. So when it comes to, that's just one thing. Yeah, that's one slow way to die.
What other methods have you heard along the lines of population containment?
Food.
With food, exactly.
All of the food. Like, all of the
anything that's always been frozen, anything full of preservatives. It is always good to have something not breaded to the best of what you could do. I mean, fried food. Even in the sense of vegetables, I still try to do more vegetables into my diet, or even salads, because you really can't cheat that way. Well, and it sucks because with the fact of genetically modified,
everything
with GMOs themselves, it's hard to even stray away from that end.
Well, here's the rub, right? So, and this is why some could even attribute this to being population control. Healthier food is obviously far more expensive than cheap food. It's not even fair. Even a good cup of water, somebody just recently released a video on Facebook where she checked the acidity of the waters. So she grabbed all of the water bottles available and did the test.
The pH balance test.
And a number of waters that we purchase on the daily, acidic as hell. If the test came out orange, that was acidic. That's bad for you. And if it was blue or it came closer to purple, then it's base. Yeah. So... And if it was green, it was neutral. So a number of waters that you think would be healthy were like the worst. I'll never drink Aquafina again.
Arrowhead is bad.
Arrowhead is a mess. Don't mess with Arrowhead. Even Smart Water isn't really that good for you.
I haven't even got into the whole alkaline water craze. I think that's
no. It actually, when I was staying,
what do you think about that?
When I was staying with my roommates, because they were both vegan, and they were like hippies that completely were against this. So this is why I have so much information, and this will go back to the food subject. We didn't diverge. So, they had an alkaline water dispenser, and then they would, if they didn't use that, they would actually get one of those Arrowhead-sized jugs and just go to the local store that had an alkaline water dispenser.
Oh wow!
And it was only like $3 to fill up an entire gallon, or not gallon.
Like what are you talking about? Like a commercial job site jug?
Yeah,
that's 5 gallons.
Yeah, 5 gallons. Thank you. And and we would just drink that, and that water tasted good. Like, tasted totally different from any other water. It was almost like.
Isn't it higher than a neutral?
It's way higher than a
neutral. Because it needs to be. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it needs to be a little acidic. Correct?
It could be.
Okay.
But really, if you go pure alkaline, that's good. You need to be alkaline. Your water levels in your body as a whole need to be alkaline.
Oh wow. Okay.
Some people disagree. That's where the people start arguing because of the misinformation that's floating around.
Okay.
Some people believe that we're supposed to have acidic water in our system. No, our body develops its own acid. We do not develop alkaline.
We don't need to be taking in acid when our body can produce it itself.
So when you're drinking alkaline water, you're feeding your body the best fuel possible.
Wow, okay.
So when you're sweating the best fuel and it's going through your pores and it's cleaning your pores.
Yeah.
You know, like when you think about how water operates through the body, it's important. So you need to
put so many things.
Exactly. So you need to put the right. So using the Amazon example again, I'm basically drinking poison and I'm acting poisoned because I'm slower. My head hurts. I can't function. But when I drank alkaline water and went to work, I could go all day. So. This goes to the water, to the food thing. So while they were, making drinking alkaline water and using that to cook food, the food tasted better.
Wow.
And they would go to, like Whole Foods, and they would go to,
Trader Joe's.
And also like personal, marketplaces.
Oh, farmers markets.
Okay,
thank you. Cool.
My terminology.
No, don't worry about
it. Farmers markets they're the shit, dude, because actually, they might be they might be a little more expensive than what you'd pay at like a Food for Less or whatever your bargain store is.
Yeah.
But they'll give you more because they're people, So if I get an order of potatoes, and it's only it's like $3 for a pound or something, right? If you have a conversation with them, they'll go, "You're a good guy. Here's another pound for no
exactly.
reason."
that element, and that's a good point you bring up. That element is always, you're always able to use and provide the human element, despite at a store. You can't go fucking barter at a store.
Exactly. Cool. And they grew it themselves. And there is a huge difference when you eat food that's grown from other people naturally.
Yeah.
There's a sweetness to it. Like tomatoes taste like fruit. And if you add it to your sandwich, it's the shit.
Yeah.
But then if you get it from your local store, let's say, I'm trying to think of a bad store. Walmart, perfect.
Yeah.
So go to Walmart and get tomatoes. Yeah, they're going to taste cool. They're going to taste good, but they're not that plump for a good reason.
Yeah.
Whereas you might get something from these farmers markets. It might not be massive, but it will be natural. Actually, I lie because I went to the farmers market. There's one every Friday over at Victoria Gardens.
Yeah.
They're awesome. They give me potatoes like this big.
The
size of like your arm, basically. That's not an exaggeration. They're huge. And they were delicious.
So then with what you're saying here is that why, like to the places that we go to trust that we're going to get good food, which promises good life, good long expectancy of life because you're eating nutritious food. But when you go to those same places and now you have, you can buy, deli sliced meat, or you can buy this fucking 2-pound bag at like $3.99, you know,
right.
When that one's going to be full of nitrates with the meat and with the context of frozen food,
right.
You're going to have some loaded with preservatives. And even in, that tails on to the cheaper it goes. I can buy a gallon of water for like 88 cents. Fruit punch is at 99 cents for a gallon. Like there is a very limited amount to where, you go from healthy to unhealthy, and it's the price margin on that. Sometimes it might be discouraging. And in the sense of water to fruit punch, it's like, wow, you're not that off from having something sweeter.
Exactly.
Not like water.
Well, okay.
And that's the thing that sucks. You know what I mean? It's just, you go and it's up to it's up to how well you are financially, and it's not all general at that point.
Right. And it's not fair. It's designed
Exactly.
to be unfair. So like, all right, so because I don't think we really explained why the food is bad. So we did mention GMOs. GMOs are awful for you. To be honest, our body is not. Look at your body as a vehicle. Look at it as a car, and you need to keep it up. You wouldn't put muddy gas in your tank, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't put it in your tank because it's going to affect your engine.
Yeah.
You're going to put oil in your car, right? You're not going to put salt. You're not going to put salt in,
sugar. There's no other additives you need to put besides what you need to put in.
Right. You're not going to put Kool-Aid in your car. So in this case, sugar, right? Human beings, honestly, are not supposed to digest the amount of sugar that they do on a daily basis. We have sugar in so much shit, it's unbelievable.
Ketchup,
there is a study.
Just like random
ketchup,
things. You'll be surprised.
There is a study, and they discovered that sugar is the closest thing to like crack. Like the reaction to your body that sugar gives is similar to like a really small crack hit, especially in children. Have you ever gave a kid some candy?
Yeah.
And they just like flip out.
Yeah.
They go nuts, and you go, what the hell happened? Because in children, their bodies are smaller, and we're giving them that huge intake of sugar.
Yeah.
That chemical imbalance in the body takes place like a drug. And they have a crack moment.
Yeah.
Kids really have they're on crack when you give them candy. That's why they just jump off of shit and scream and run. And it's not, some people go, oh yeah, they're just being kids. No, the sugar is really affecting them in a bad way. And you keep giving it to them as a reward.
Yeah.
And then we get used to it as we get older, and then you get diabetes. Yes. So sugar, right? Like it's okay to have some sugar. Like fruits have natural sugars in them. There are just a number of things that you shouldn't indulge in that have sugar. Like cheeseburgers at McDonald's have sugar in them. Fucking,
white bread does.
White bread has sugar in it. And the problem with taking in so much sugar is that it affects your blood. It affects, I'm mad at you, man. I could have brought my info.
Oh, and to build on what you're saying, there's tons of negative effects.
Yes, it's all negative. Like there's no positive effect to eating a handful of Skittles
Let's go into the context of with candy, and to where we're going to build on now from this point with sugar. You now have it instilled in you that sugar is bad.
Yes.
Okay, so then your go-to method is, I still like candy, but I don't like the sugar. Oh, we have sugar-free snacks.
Bullshit.
Even that avenue is then full of additives that are then banned in Europe, banned in other countries, but hey, we still have it. Don't worry about it. Sweeteners.
Oh, man.
And we keep going to these avenues, but you will be surprised of how many people I've met. And this is a matter of it being passed on from generation to generation, who are allergic to things. Who can't eat certain items.
Yes.
It's and then I realize, well, what the hell? Like, why? Fuck. And then I see them having a big gulp. Or one of those,
my God.
or the OG truckers that have that big ass one, that big 5-gallon jug that you can only get when you ask for it.
It's like a bucket.
Yeah, and it's like,
just a bucket of drink.
Like, you should not be drinking that much soda. Like, when I stopped drinking soda religiously like that, everything changed so much for the better. Like, I used to sneak out at 1 a.m. to go grab a soda.
Right.
It was that bad, but like my withdrawal period was very
and he's
harsh.
Dead serious. I'm laughing because it's like that idea.
And to actually get to where I am now, where I'm at least, dude, I lost about a good 10 pounds from not doing all that anymore.
Well, yeah, sugar.
It increased my life expectancy because I did it.
Absolutely. Okay, so when it comes to, there's this one book, and I can't believe I don't remember the name, but the premise of the book was this woman told her family for this whole year, no sugar. We're not having sugar at all for a whole year. And the family hated her, and she documented the experience. Of course, they all had withdrawals. Children have withdrawals when you take sugar away from them. If you've been giving them sugar consistently, and you just abruptly take it away from them, they have real withdrawal effects. They can't go to sleep. They have like panic attacks, anxiety. they like flip out.
Yeah.
Because they're like, are you going to give me my candy or what? And you say no. And they see other kids eat candy. It's even worse. It's like a person, when they don't have a cigarette and they see other people smoking cigarettes, kids like lose their shit.
Oh, wow.
So throughout the year, they switched and found better alternatives, which their sweeteners are not an alternative. Sweeteners are actually like 3 times worse than sugar.
Yeah, because of the additive itself.
Yes, the additive itself was something that they used in World War II against, oh my gosh,
against opposing forces.
Against opposing forces, and it actually was used as a poison. And now we have it in our sweetener. That's incredible.
And that goes on to what I want to take to that is that any additives that are banned in other countries are banned in other countries for a reason.
Right. Why do we have so much? Like, we double it.
And yet we use it because of what? Do we need this revolving door of people like dying at an alarm, like at a rate to where we need to keep it consistent for people immigrating in, being born, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, because it's not instant death, you know? So, real quick, just the lady who, happy.
Oh, yeah, please. Sorry.
Lady, by the end of the year, all their health increased. They slept better. Their blood actually was better. Like, I don't know, the way their blood flow operated through their heart and through their veins, it actually was a smoother pump, and it was going through, so they were more oxygenated.
Yeah, I bet you it lowered their blood pressure.
Yeah,
because
it's basically like supersized me with sugar, though.
Oh, wow.
And not only did their health increase, their memory increased, their ability to solve problems, their brains basically were improved. Their health overall was improved. Their stamina was improved. And like, they basically became greater people,
Cool.
And that was a big eye-opener for me. So I started to look at things that had sugar, and I realized everything that exists has sugar, and it's very hard to not eat sugar. But I've cut out sugar and basically any form of beef. I think the most recent is like steak I've had with you, but I don't eat beef.
My bad.
I like steak. It's good. It's seldom though. I don't eat it nearly at all. So the only thing I eat is chicken, and it's not fried. I never eat fried stuff. I try my best not to. So when I stopped, I got really sick because my body's used to taking in beef and no homo. My body is used to eating beef and taking in sugar. So when I cut that like abruptly, I actually had a really bad effect and had withdrawals. But over that period, I got over it. I started to notice that I can maintain energy longer. I can stay up longer. If I wanted to exercise, I can keep going. When it came to cutting the beef, I didn't feel sluggish. My heart, there's a huge difference in the way my heart felt. Yeah. And I don't know how to describe that. It just felt pure. Yeah. Compared to when I ate beef all the time, I just felt like a clog or something. Yeah. Maybe there was some damage there and I didn't know. But when I stopped eating beef, I just felt overall better. Yeah. And then now, the only sugar I really eat is something I'll drink, but I don't even drink soda, or I drink, if it's juice, I only drink whatever was squeezed, no pasteurized stuff, no pasteurized, excuse me. I always drink
iced tea, plain iced tea?
Plain iced tea with no sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just drink unsweetened tea, and I drink actual tea.
Yeah, it took a long time for me to actually start selecting iced tea religiously at the drive-thru or
it tastes,
wherever I'm at.
It's like water with a twang to it,
Yeah.
But anyway, the whole point is, I feel it. I feel better, and there's no going back. When I eat beef now, I throw up, or when I had the steak with you, the next day I felt really sick for the whole day. I had a beef hangover, so I did not feel good.
So do you feel with the way that you kind of see certain things being banned here? I mean, certain things be allowed here that aren't banned, that aren't allowed in other places, and with the fact of the matter that it kind of looks too easy to access fast food. It's too easier to access sugary drinks.
It's too easy to upgrade in your fast food.
Will you think that? Do you think that it is helping out the agenda of maybe the government likes to have expectancy cut short?
How about this? It's two things, in my opinion, based on researches and people I've spoken with, psychologists and stuff. Eating bad food makes you more susceptible to brainwashing. Isn't that weird?
No, I can believe that.
You're actually more prone, let's say you're just you're just disgusting. You just eat food all the time. You don't do.
Well, don't look at me like that when you say that, please. No, but yeah, keep going.
Basically, what a person explained to me, she was like, I can hypnotize that person. You know, like if they were to use that dumb clock, old school pendulum style, one swing and they'd be out. Because all of the chemicals in their body, their brain doesn't function the same way anymore. It doesn't. They don't have I won't say they don't have free will anymore. Let's not go too far. Yeah. But they're just more susceptible to persuasion.
I can buy that. Yep.
Easy. Because of the chemical. I mean, like I said, sweetener was used against an opposing force. Come on, like. So if you're constantly just taking in sodas, the biggest of sodas, you're constantly burning out from a sugar high. You know, you're constantly taking in. And I will go into beef and animals in a little bit, but basically, you're more susceptible to being persuaded. And the other deal was, it's just a slow killer. Yeah, it's a slow killer. It doesn't kill you instantly, but you're gonna get a disease, and that's really harsh to tell a person. But when you're eating bad, that's why you see like, I forgot his name, but Star Trek, bald. What's his name?
The bald gentleman from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart?
Patrick Stewart. That dude's never going to die. He's vegan and he's like, I drink tea. That's all. I drink tea and I exercise. And that's one thing that most people don't do.
Where Patrick Stewart looks immortal.
He looks exactly the same. Like, 1980 to now, he's the same dude. But he's a great example. Or let's say Asian culture. Asian culture, they pride themselves in eating righteous, eating healthy, exercising, taking care of their body. They drink tea after every meal so that it'll help their digestive process. Yeah. So they want, like, whatever they eat, if it is bad, it's going to be out of their system very soon. Mm-hmm. Whereas we eat shit and then we pile more shit on top of it and just slow the process down, you know? Exactly. So when it comes to American culture, we glorify gluttony. Yep. I was riding my bike, right? I ride my bike every day now. And somebody was like, where are you going? I was like, no, I ride this bike for exercise. And they laughed at me. Yeah. And they didn't say anything else. They just kept going. They drove away. And I was like, okay. They laughed at me because I'm exercising. What is that? That doesn't even make sense.
That's what happens, man.
But that's what I'm getting at. It's like, exercising is foolish. Exercising is stupid now. You know, we're in a culture where it's like, sit your ass down and watch our shows. Yeah. I want to watch other people do sports. I'm not going to do them myself.
I want to watch the CrossFit Games. Fuck, the CrossFit Games. You want to see people exercise at you want to see people exercise at a stadium.
Right.
Like, fuck.
So, it's America, dude. Yeah. So, if there's any group of people that are either trying to keep people dumb or kill them, we're here. Because when a person eats bad, man, I don't know how my heart was affected because you ate your body is full of lard and you never got it out of your system. You just sat at home. You go to work. Yeah, there's some people that go to work, type on a computer, do their cubicle job, come back home.
Fuck, I'm tired.
Yes, eat their shit and then go to sleep, go to work, cubicle, come back home, and they never exercise. They never eat right. And it's a slow death. And there are a number of diseases that have been linked to bad food, especially because of the modifications that we have. Yeah. Did you have another question? Because I was going to hop into animals real quick.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, please.
All right. So there's a study going around, and this was really interesting. So when it comes to, that's why a lot of people are vegan and vegetarians. I was going to say vegetables. Everybody's vegetables.
Everyone's vegetables.
Everybody's vegetables now. A lot of vegetarians. There's plenty of documentaries of how they treat the animals and all that other crap. I'm pretty sure you guys know the deal. They kill animals in very horrific ways. They have them upside down, use chainsaws to cut their throats, and they laugh. They take the babies, like the little chicks, and just smash them on the floor. They call it thumping. That's like a process. You thump the chickens, okay? And then they just kill a bunch of chicks, picking them up by slamming them on the ground. Really horrific stuff, right? So a study broke this down, and it was incredible. Now, let's say, energy can't be destroyed, correct? It can only be transferred, right? Yep. All right, so we'll tell a story of one animal in a slaughterhouse. Yeah. So an animal is farmed and grown, and then he becomes the ripe age to be killed for food. Yes. So you have him on the conveyor, and he sees 4 of his friends in front of him be murdered.
Yeah.
They get shocked, and then they get hung up, and then they get their throat slit, and then they get thrown into
and then
some
they see that they're
crazy...
next.
Yeah. So, in that process, let's say there's 3 ahead of them. That first one dies, I have a panic attack.
Mm-hmm.
The next one dies, my heart basically... I have a heart attack.
Yeah.
The third one dies in front of me, and I'm in shock. And then you get to me. Now, that animal is in such a high panic state, it's excreted adrenaline. Mm-hmm. It's excreted like DMT. It's soiled itself, and all of its muscles have tightened.
Yeah.
Because of it's so afraid that it gets tense and tight.
Yeah.
Energy does not... it transfers.
Yeah.
So when you kill this animal, all that stress, tension, fear, all of those fluids that it excreted into its muscles,
Yeah.
that goes into the beef. So when it gets shredded up and cut, and gets packaged up, and then it goes into its truck, then it shows up at the store, you buy that ham or steak or whatever, you cook it, you eat that same energy. Mm-hmm. And that same energy has the exact same effects that it did on the cow that when it died. And they said they literally did this study. They checked the meat, watched the process, watched them get killed, saw the meat, saw the person that took it, and then did a heart test, and their heart rate went up. Because they took the exact same energy from that cow that was murdered. Now, when you're eating nothing but this high, like, that's why there are other practices. Like in Oregon, they do humane killings. You know, They do it peacefully. They put them on the farm and they let them have a fun life. And then they take them out peacefully. They don't hang them upside down and slit their throats. They actually take them out peacefully. They do it in a calm, nice way. They don't slit their throat, but they put them to sleep and then they die.
To where it's unsuspecting.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the animal dies at peace, dies happy. You eat better meat. Isn't that crazy? I'm like, what? But energy doesn't just explode. It stays where it was and then it transfers. So this crazy study, I read up on it. It was ridiculous. And they said they checked people that had, they followed the cows and they followed the chickens and all the ones that had this panic state when they died. They checked the person that ate it and they had a health effect that was similar
to that of the, okay, wow.
So that's why you shouldn't eat McDonald's hamburgers. That's why you shouldn't, you don't know
what eat low level beef.
Exactly, because you don't know what happened to what was the process. I mean, think about it. If you look at the meat aisle, we got hundreds of different meats. So what did they go through to get here on this aisle?
And that's just one store.
That's just one store. So when I figured that out, I actually that's what killed me on beef, and I just don't eat beef anymore. Yeah. And then even with chicken, it's hard. The only reason I eat chicken is because sometimes I don't have tofu on hand, Yeah. But I like tofu. Tofu's perfect. But and then the other fucked up ways we cook the food too. Oh yeah, baby, I just put it in some powder, I turned it around, put some cinnamon on it, and then I fried it, and then I flipped it back, and then put it in some ham, spun it in the ham, put some pineapples on it.
Glazed ham.
What the hell am I eating?
Even in the respect of ham, pork
that's the worst animal to eat.
Pork is the hardest meat to digest, and I know you're on a bit of a time constraint here, but to wrap up what you're saying on this end about meat is that there needs to be a correct process on how to do this to make sure that this doesn't extend over to you on that end.
Right. And that's one thing that it's hard to track, unfortunately. But that's just a thought. Once again, this isn't set in stone, but I'm just letting you guys know.
Do you believe that it's a population control method?
Without a doubt. And there are another, let's see, because I read this about a month ago. Mm-hmm. And they basically admitted that all of the vaccines that they gave children in the early 90s and like from the early 80s to the late 90s, the vaccines had polio. Some vaccines actually had AIDS.
Immunizations are definitely a hard subject to touch, and that has to be on its own. That has to be on its own segment that we're going to take care of. We're going to
bring it up just for the sake of why the hell are you doing that?
Yeah.
We can also bring up the fact that just a number of health practices don't do their job on purpose just so they can keep you in the pharmaceutical cycle. Mm-hmm. I just recently had a personal experience with that. My mother was going through some health issues, and they misdiagnosed her 15 times in a row just so they can give her a new medication. So we kept coming back Like within the same week, like, okay, these aren't the right pills. She's not feeling better.
Yeah.
Oh, let me check again. They don't do their job, and they just go, oh, you probably just have back problems. But she came in for stomach problems.
Yeah.
All right, so take these pills for back problems.
Wow.
And then she gets those drugs, tries them, she feels sick, go back, and we did the cycle like for months. And then also, I mean, before my grandmother passed, she was on the same cycle. They just kept misdiagnosing her. Like, she comes in, my ear hurts, and they go, here, we got you some shoulder medication. And then she takes those pills, and now she has to come back.
Oh, man.
So it's one of those things where, you know, Requiem for a Dream is actually a great example because that it's a film, and they basically show the effects of drugs on a person.
Mm-hmm.
You give them drugs, and they're not exactly supposed to be diagnosed to you.
Yeah.
You have effects, and you end up dying. So, yeah. Sorry, you can you make a point real quick? I have to.
No problem.
Just text somebody.
So what we're doing on from what you said here, immunizations to me specifically, some of them really don't make sense to me because there's actual practices that were done from the early 1900s to now, even to the 1970s, that we don't do anymore because we already found out that they aren't good for us. Mm-hmm. There's tons of people that still have big old booster shots from when they were a kid,
right?
And they realistically didn't need them,
right? They didn't need them.
Yeah, it's just like it still boggles my mind. And for even immunizations at its source, you're injecting an old strand of the virus that you're trying to prevent them from having.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like
what are the odds of that strand like actually coming to full force inside your body?
Mm-hmm. And
that's still kind of never sat well with me. And
I never understood that, and no one ever explains it. They give you a half-ass answer. I mean, another one that a lot of people still to this day are fighting on is chemtrails. And it doesn't matter what I say about chemtrails. Yeah. People are really going to fight that one. They don't want to believe that one. That's a very obvious one to me. But a lot of people just have scientific facts that apparently make it justified.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't understand its purpose.
We're trying to block back the UV rays with aluminum dioxide. And that stuff doesn't fall into what we breathe in. That doesn't really sit well with me either. But anyway, I want to close off this portion of the Mark on Andre podcast show.
Mark or Andre, whichever.
The Mark and or Andre show with telling you this, that there is tons of things that will lead you to believe that the U.S. government is trying things that shouldn't be in our system. Mm-hmm. Additives in alternative additives in sugar, alternatives that are banned in other countries. Those should be telltale signs of what you should avoid to have yourself enjoy a more prosperous life. Mm-hmm. To avoid vices such as candy, alcohol, and just have these things in moderation. You know what I mean?
Alcohol. I'm sorry.
But as long as you do your best to avoid all those avenues, we can, promise you that you'll live a lot better. You'll
feel it, and
you'll definitely feel it.
But it's hard to, you're doing your last thought, right?
Yeah, no, but I want to even close out by saying it's just it's all laid out for you, and you have to make the proper navigations through the avenues to avoid yourself getting diabetes, falling victim to some cancer that is related to you digesting, tons of meat, or a nutritional imbalance where you're just all sugar and no vitamins.
No vitamins. And
those things you can avoid. You could avoid these certain complications that the government might be implementing to reduce your life expectancy. Not necessarily you dying at a specific time.
Right. And then for my final thoughts, it is one of those things where I question it. I can't outright say that that's the case, but there are just too many things. We didn't touch on cigarettes and alcohol, but I feel like those are kind of a no-brainer. Because it just doesn't make sense how easily accessible they are. And it's just one of those things where everything that it's like I have a weird belief. If it's good for you, like if you like it a lot, it's bad for you. Yeah. If you can't go a week without it, there's a problem. And I see that in sugar. I see that in like beef, ham, certain meats.
Yeah.
Because a person will fight you if you tell them to stop eating meat.
It'll get really problematic at that point.
They find you're vegetarian. What's wrong with you? Like, there's a problem now.
Yeah.
Exercising is not fun. exercising sucks. Mm-hmm. But sitting down and having a beer is awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like the thing that you least would want to do, I feel like you should practice trying it.
Oh, yeah.
No sugar, or, cut back on candy. Ask yourself,
is there a healthy alternative at this point?
Is there a healthy alternative? Or why am I eating this?
Yeah.
Why am I eating if you really look at Skittles and go, these are just tiny balls of sugar encapsulated in sugar, then you have to ask yourself, is it worth this?
Yeah.
How long, a lot of people don't think about the long term, and we're designed not to. We're designed to go, I'm alive now, shit. So my final thought is, just try to lean towards the harder things. Yeah. Because once you go on the other side, it's just like exercise. It's going to suck when you start, but as you keep doing it, it just becomes a lifestyle. It becomes natural.
Excellent point.
So, start focusing more on fruits. So if you're shopping at the grocery store, let's just not get that Hostess cake, and let's just get a batch of apples. They're around the same price. Actually, no, the Hostess cake is cheaper. But just go for those apples and just see how it feels. So whenever you crave that Hostess cake, go for an apple. If you keep going, it's to the point now, and this is my final thought, I need to shut up, but it's to the point now when I eat candy, it tastes horrible. It's too sweet. Yeah. When I eat an apple, that shit is like a Starburst to me. Yeah. So if you just try to eat a little bit healthier, try to go for a salad. Just try it, and
they're good to me.
Yeah.
I like them.
just try it and see how you feel over a period of time. Challenge yourself. Yeah. Give yourself a month and just go for one thing.
Even take a quick snap of a before and after when you actually did 3 months of you eating nothing but vegetables and stuff. And you'll see a difference. You are what you eat.
Yes, and man, there are sometimes I'm just like, wow, I feel amazing compared to nice. Prior. So that's at the end of the day, if they're trying to kill you, I just say, try to focus on the things that nobody wants, and focus on that, because if someone is trying to kill you, they're kind of crazy to leave the option to stay alive available to you.
Exactly.
So on that, it's really they set it up in a way to where it's up to your will. You have to fight for it. Mm-hmm. So you fight for that salad. You fight to jog. You fight to indulge in something other than sugar and cigarettes.
There we
go. And heroin. No heroin.
I want to thank Andre Gaynor for coming in tonight on such a tight schedule, and I want to actually give yourself the room to do your shameless promotion.
I make it nice and sweet and quick. I am a hip hop instructor. If you guys are interested, I have a YouTube channel, and I essentially cover hip hop music. I have a show where I take a hip hop song and I analyze it all the way down to its bare essentials. I show you the rhyme schemes. I show you the words they use, why they use them, what kind of technique they use, their kind of rhyme schemes, flows, and even the beat. So if you want to check that out, I'm at Lyricology 101. That's the name of the channel. And if you want to find the channel, it's youtube.com/Andre Gaynor. That's youtube.com/AndreGainer.
There we go.
There you go. So thank you guys so much.
You guys have a good night. I want to thank you for listening to the Mark and Andre podcast. Be sure to tune in to us next Friday, where we'll cover a vast array of topics that we will get to when I decide to put them up.
When we get there.
You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.